Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your reliable destination for timely financial updates, verified economic insights, and strategic intelligence on Iraq's evolving currency landscape. If you've been tracking the rise of the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, and Vietnamese Dong, VND, today's news could represent a pivotal turning point in global financial narratives. As of May 28, 2025, we may be witnessing a structural shift in how emerging markets like Iraq and Vietnam redefine their economic futures. This isn't just another speculative headline. According to recent statements from Frank26, a recognized commentator in currency policy circles, the IQD has surged to an estimated value of $4.58, while the VND has reached approximately $3.77. Though these numbers are still unconfirmed by global authorities, they are reportedly supported by institutional backing, fiscal reforms, and improved transparency. These figures are no longer limited to niche financial forums. They've entered mainstream economic discourse. Currency revaluation has evolved from a fringe topic to a serious economic consideration. Financial strategists, multinational stakeholders, and policy analysts now recognize that the transformation underway in Iraq and Vietnam could have a long-term impact on global markets. These currencies have transcended speculation. They represent nations striving for legitimacy, rebuilding trust, and reshaping their fiscal identities through reform. The IQD and VND are now symbols of economic resilience. Once dismissed due to past instability and geopolitical turmoil, these currencies are receiving renewed interest thanks to deliberate reforms. Iraq's government and its central bank have methodically worked on stabilizing inflation, increasing regulatory control, improving oil revenues, and launching digital banking reforms. These aren't just gestures, they are foundational shifts. If confirmed, the new IQD exchange rate of $4.58 represents not only a major financial leap, but a statement of credibility. It signals to the world that Iraq is no longer trapped by its past. The country is asserting financial independence, boosting investor confidence, and reclaiming its position in the global economy. The implications are enormous, from reduced import costs to increased purchasing power and renewed foreign investment. For context, 100 Iraqi dinars, if valued at $4.58 per dinar, would equate to $458.00, a massive return on holdings for those who invested early. But it's not just about windfalls. It's about Iraq's repositioning in global financial circles. These changes are not the result of happenstance. They are the product of nearly 2 decades of institutional rebuilding and economic modernization. Iraq has taken steps, quietly but consistently, since the early 2010s to re-establish fiscal integrity. These include stronger ties with the IMF, World Bank, and regional monetary alliances. The country has pushed for transparency, secured debt relief, and encouraged foreign capital inflow. All of this was happening while global media often focused on conflict. But underneath the surface, Iraq was preparing for a moment like this. Frank26's announcement has reignited interest across financial communities, from Telegram chats to hedge fund portfolios. But what distinguishes this moment is that the movement isn't built on hype, it's rooted in data. Monetary reforms are gaining traction and the markets are adjusting. Vietnam's story is no less impressive. The VND's rise to an estimated $3.77 showcases how consistent macroeconomic policy, export-led growth, and digital infrastructure investments can elevate a nation's currency. Vietnam has gradually become a manufacturing hub, drawing billions in foreign direct investment as companies seek alternatives to China. These strategic alignments are now paying off. Historically, the State Bank of Vietnam has maintained a conservative monetary stance to keep the currency undervalued and support exports. But as domestic demand rises and digital banking expands, the country has earned a new level of investor confidence. Revaluation of the VND is not just possible, it now appears inevitable. In both Iraq and Vietnam, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and fintech innovation are transforming the way money is managed and moved. Iraq is progressing toward digital payments, while Vietnam is testing blockchain-based systems to strengthen financial transparency. These efforts are critical to bringing previously cash-heavy economies into the modern digital framework. As the Iraqi Dinar (IQD) and Vietnamese Dong (VND) attract renewed attention with their reportedly increased valuations, $4.58 for the dinar and $3.77 for the dong, the financial world is preparing for more than just currency gains. This moment represents a wider realignment of monetary strategy where digital finance, sovereign innovation, and geopolitical recalibration all converge. One of the most profound developments in both Iraq and Vietnam is the increasing integration of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. These aren't theoretical concepts anymore. They're being tested, deployed, and woven into the infrastructure of national financial systems. Iraq, which remains heavily reliant on physical currency, has made significant progress toward digital inclusion. Mobile banking, contactless payments, and secure online financial services are beginning to take root across major cities and provincial hubs. Vietnam, already ahead of the curve, is piloting blockchain-based banking systems with aims to enhance transparency and accelerate transaction speed. These advancements have the potential to attract fintech innovation, global investment partnerships, and institutional capital. As digital transformation unfolds, the revaluation of national currencies is becoming an anchor, one that transitions nations from legacy systems to secure, modern platforms. These new valuations, if verified, could serve as digital benchmarks, transforming physical value into traceable, regulated formats. With more countries exploring tokenized currencies and blockchain auditing, the IQD and VND are poised to be among the first emerging market currencies to leverage such visibility. This would mean real-time tax collection, transparent financial reporting, and investor-grade documentation and regulators. Global financial systems are taking note. Banks, asset managers, and sovereign wealth funds are reportedly updating their internal frameworks to accommodate these emerging currencies. Risk assessment models are being recalibrated, and portfolio strategies are being reevaluated to reflect the growing credibility of the IQD and VND. Currency trading desks from New York to Singapore are now tracking data from Baghdad and Hanoi with renewed seriousness. Traditional valuation methods, GDP, interest rates, and inflation, are now being weighed alongside variables like digital adoption, fiscal reform, and geopolitical alignment. This shift suggests a future where emerging currencies are no longer relegated to speculative status, but are actively integrated into balanced international strategies. Zooming back in on Iraq, if the $4.58 valuation is globally recognized, it would reshape the entire economic ecosystem. Import costs would drop, inflation could stabilize, foreign direct investment would accelerate. The IQD would become a stronger medium of exchange, not only within Iraq, but across regional and global transactions. Domestically, this would translate into higher purchasing power, improved living standards, and a renewed sense of confidence among citizens. From an international standpoint, Iraq's government would gain leverage, whether negotiating with OPEC, the World Bank, or foreign lenders. The private sector would flourish with increased access to affordable capital, new trade routes, and expanded economic partnerships. This shift positions Iraq not just as a recovering nation, but a rising leader in regional economics. For the average Iraqi citizen, this could mean access to global goods, new employment opportunities, and improved infrastructure. The revaluation becomes more than just a financial reset. It's a declaration of long-term national intent, a statement that Iraq has moved beyond crisis and is now embracing opportunity. However, despite the momentum, investors must exercise strategic caution. Currency revaluation is complex. Conversion processes often vary by country, bank, and transaction size. Legal documentation such as proof of purchase, residency, or even tax filings may be required to complete exchanges. During such times, scammers thrive, posing with fake certificates, websites, and conversion offers. That's why it is vital to consult qualified financial and legal professionals before taking any steps. Factors like capital gains taxes, currency spreads, and banking regulations can dramatically affect what you actually receive. While the temptation to act quickly is understandable, the smarter move is to plan thoroughly and protect your gains. Patience and preparation will ensure that opportunities turn into lasting benefits. Importantly, Iraq's central bank has reassured its citizens and global stakeholders that physical dinar notes will remain valid even as the digital transformation progresses. Iraq's economy is still predominantly cash-based, especially in rural and underbanked regions. Removing physical currency too soon would risk instability. Instead, Iraq is adopting a hybrid model, introducing digital finance while preserving physical currency to maintain public trust and ease the transition. Retailers, banks, and public institutions are being encouraged to accept both formats. Education campaigns, infrastructure upgrades, and mobile banking incentives are already in motion. For foreign investors, this means your physical dinar still holds value and can be used as a bridge into Iraq's modern financial system. The road ahead involves digital pilots, expanding trust networks, and infrastructure rollouts that support full digital integration. With revaluation confirmed, the shift to a digital dinar becomes even more viable. The momentum is in place, and so is the will of the people and the policymakers. Ultimately, this moment marks a generational shift. Those who held IQD or VND during uncertain years may now be witnessing the realization of long-term belief and discipline. For communities built around these currencies, the task now is to share knowledge, assist others in understanding the path forward, and prepare together for sustainable success. Future Frank26's reported rates, $4.58 for IQD and $3.77 for VND, are more than numbers. They are milestones of national redemption. These values symbolize reform, resilience, and restored dignity for Iraq and Vietnam. Behind each note are stories of families, workers, and entrepreneurs who never stopped believing in a better future. This isn't just a revaluation, it's a redefinition of national identity, a call to recognize that discipline and reform do, in fact, lead to transformation. Iraq is stepping forward as a regional leader. Vietnam is cementing its place as a global manufacturing and innovation hub. And for investors watching closely, this might be a once-in-a-generation opportunity, not merely to profit, but to participate in a rare moment of economic renaissance. Let's stay prepared, informed, and focused, because history is being written now, one valuation at a time. Stay tuned to Iraqi Dinar News for clear strategic coverage. We deliver more than updates, we provide the intelligence you need to make smart decisions in a changing world.